Alright, everybody, welcome to Back in Toons special What the Fuck edition, where we pick something in the animation that is completely bonkers and try to make some sort of sense of it. I'm your host, Michael, and my guest this week, Tony, chose Mystery of the Third Planet. How's it going, Tony?
It's going all right. Like to, this is one of two of the most bonker things I've ever seen, and I'm glad that I had the chance to recommend this.
Alright, so I watched this movie, and by the way, there's many versions of this movie. Mystery of the Third Planet was sold as like a cheapie from the dollar store. I'm guessing that's how you saw it. It was one of those like, bargain bin kind
As a
of things.
kid.
And it's completely different than the original version. I found the original version, which was all, in Russian, and it had subtitles, and that didn't help. And then there's a third version called Alice in the Mystery of the Third Planet, which is from Mikhail Baryshnikov's Stories from My Childhood. Now, which version did you just watch this, or do you have this burned in your brain?
Oh, I had this burned in my brain, but I also have the copy on VHS originally, so I'm imagining it's the cheapo copy version that was brought to the U.S. early on.
Yeah, was yours dubbed or subtitled?
Oh, it was dubbed.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one I tried to watch on YouTube, but somehow it was even more painful than the original one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, to explain this movie is impossible from my side. I even went to Amazon to find some reviews of it. Nope. It's like the movie doesn't exist. I went to Wikipedia to find it. And, okay, did you ever watch news radio?
I did. I love news radio.
Okay, do you remember the episode where Jimmy James has that book that doesn't sell whatsoever in America, so they take it over to Japan, and then it's so popular there that they bring it back to America, so it's English translated to Japanese, then back to English, and it's complete nonsense? That's what the entry on Amazon, or on Wikipedia looks for this movie.
Oh, man, this is a beautiful thing.
I wanted to read some of this, but I feared that I would have an aneurysm, so just go to Wikipedia and try to figure out. What do you know about this movie, if you could try to explain to someone else?
All right, so this movie, and I've actually just been introduced to this technique in the literary function recently, is basically a stylistic of where the writer feels like he is writing the movie as he goes. So as the movie starts off, it's just them getting ready to go on a trip. And every subsequent scene just keeps adding more and more to the movie. So if you're watching it trying to figure out, like, if it's a classic movie where they foreshadow everything, they foreshadow nothing. It is literally like you just go into the next scene, like, what's going on now?
So wait a minute.
What's going on now?
This is an animated movie that's basically the same as one of those improv sketches where someone starts a story, the person next to them has to continue that story until it gets back to them?
That is entirely how it felt to me as I watched it and rewatched it and tried to figure out more and more of it. All I could figure is that the writer of the story had like a big page of like things that could happen, and every couple of minutes would just roll a dice and be like, okay, and this happens. Okay, and then this happens. Like, there just seems to be no rhyme or reason to every scene that follows the previous one.
It is trippy too. That animation is really off the wall, and it kind of. It's exciting at the same time, kind of nauseating. You're like, I don't understand how this even came about. What's up with the giant mutant ears?
What kind of bothers me is that, so in animation, there's scenes where things are fluid and scenes where things jolt around, and that's trying to, track your attention and get you excited and what have you. This entire movie is super smooth. Like, even the combat is just very fluid, and you're just like, did they just fall into each other, or did they fight there?
Now, this isn't a full movie. This is only like 55 minutes long, so it's not a full-fledged film. But here's a weird thing. I'm looking up where this was released. In America, it was released by Touchstone Pictures, which is owned by Disney, which surprises me. They were like, yeah, this is up to snuff. Let's throw that out there. And it was released twice, May of 87 and then December of 98. And I wonder if they altered it at all or just said, we're out of this, just cut it, try to change, make some sense of it, and someone just goes, I can't do it!
I will I want to hear it, just put it back out again.
The other crazy part is it was released in 2001. Now, by this time, the movie was nearly 20 years old. It was finally released in Bulgaria, combined with the movie Driven. The Stallone flick, the car racing. How do those go together?
It's the ongoing theory of Mystery of the Third Planet. Pretty much just goes with whatever because it doesn't go with anything at all in the
I
first
know.
place.
It's weird. And the latest release date was in Ireland, 2014. This is nearly 30 years after it was done and it was finally released in Ireland. This movie has a lot more longevity than almost anything else I can think of.
It's surprising to hear about these release dates because like I told you, like when I originally watched it, I had the '87 VHS copy of it, so like I didn't even know that they kept releasing it as we went through time.
Oh, this
I
is
can't
like,
even imagine.
yeah, well, this is like a franchise. I mean, it was released in '82, but it's also had arcade games based on it. There's sequels. I think it's based on a book in the first place. It's very strange.
Now, I'll tell you, if any listeners go out there and try to watch this movie, you're gonna watch it going, how could this just? I don't. Why would anyone look at this and be like, we can do more with this?
All right, so what I've gathered from this, and it's so hard to explain, I feel like it was about two scientist buddies who I think are in a relationship. Even though homosexuality is banned in Russia, they really seem like they're a couple, and they have a little girl helping them along collect these weird space animals for a giant zoo. Is that what you got?
Or I the best I can tell is like they were just researchers. I didn't even know if they were collecting it for a zoo, much less just for research whatever was going on. I mean, but yeah, that's kind of what it felt like. That's how it started, and then they got the speak bird, and everything just went upside down from there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it's funny also, I'm looking at the Wikipedia entry, and they say things so differently. Like instead of, the entry where it says how it was filmed or filming whatever, it just says
Yeah.
shootings. So I automatically assume that people were killed while making this movie, but no, that's just how they say filming. This had to have been translated because it makes no sense.
But yeah, like there's just so many really interesting characters because all the characters are very different from each other. And usually, like when you have an animation group working on something, there are some similarities between characters to a degree. But you're watching this and you start off with like two regular Joes and a girl, and then all of a sudden there's like this giant big space barrel with arms and hands and head and what have you. And then you get like these giant ear creatures and like this pig man, and you're just left wondering how do any of these races exist? I mean, whoever created this just had no this system to his drawing at all. It was like, go with whatever, we'll make it work.
You know what's weird is this would fit very well with Yellow Submarine. If any animated movie you could pair it with, it would be that one.
True, it is quite a trip, especially when like what's called the indicator comes in and you don't know what he indicates. It just changes colors for no reason. I mean, it's a big giant trip of a movie.
The second time this was edited, I think it's funny. The entry here says the second dubbing in was released in the 1990th years by the films. What? But it says this version was cut by 6 minutes. It was reorganized, like the scenes or whatever, and then the voice of Alice was done by Kirsten Dunst, and the Chatterer was done by James Belushi.
Wow.
Yeah, I just want to see it, that version. I want to know if James Belushi starts yelling at these animals like, Jerry Lee, get back here!
See, like, now like, I have to go and just check out all these new versions of the movie, because like I've only ever experienced the '87 version. This makes me super curious now.
Yeah, I wonder how many, if it was edited differently for every single country it was released in. Like, is this new Irish version that was just released completely different than the version we've seen?
That, or there's a bunch of Irishmen out there going, "What am I watching?"
By the way, the planetary system that they that they are in or whatever, is called Jellyfish. That's it. Just the galaxy's called Jellyfish. I don't know. This long pause is us taking that in and trying to make some sense of it. Why would you call... never mind. I guess Milky Way. Someone had to name something nonsensical. I cannot make heads or tails of this movie, but it's almost like required to see it just so you can compare it to everything else. Go, well, at least it wasn't Mystery of the Third Planet.
This is definitely one of those, this is so bad, it's good, but it's bad movies. Like, like you go out of your way to watch bad movies, and this has to be on your list, because you can't have this pain in the world and not share it with somebody else.
There is another movie this reminds me of that was edited to death, chopped up, and it's like completely different everywhere you look, is a movie called Arabian Nights.
Oh, yeah.
Richard Williams, he did it right after Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it's been released here as Arabian Nights, but overseas it's completely different, and it's like a half hour longer, and the voice actors are completely different. and it makes a lot more sense. I think sometimes when you take these little independent animated movies, they just sell them off to whatever distributor will take them, and then they just manipulate it the way they want to manipulate it.
Yeah, you'll get that. I mean, it happens a lot in the animation sequences, like early animation, and not even just animation. Hell, they did it for TV series like Firefly, where it's like, yeah, I know this is the order that it was in.
We
We're
don't
gonna release
care.
it in this order, you know. And so like you'll get that in things like when Macross was brought over to the U.S. It was like, well, I know it's called Macross, but we're gonna call it Robotech. Okay,
Yeah.
then in season two, we're gonna call it Southern Cross. It's like, why would you even just change the name? It's still the same show.
What was it? I was thinking. I think it was Battle of the Planets. Was literally two cartoons that they chopped up and put together.
Yes, they literally combined two cartoons together, and we're just like, gotcha, man. And I mean, you can't just do that. You can't just take things and just jam them together and be
Yeah.
like, okay, we're good to go.
Can you imagine if someone had taken GI Joe and then the Rambo cartoon and Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos, chopped them all up and put them out as one, like Action Force?
Yeah,
Actually, isn't it called Action Force over in England? I think I'm. I think I did
I,
that by
I
accident.
honestly, I couldn't tell you for sure. I mean, but it's a very American thing to do. Let's just grab three things from random places and jam them together, and sometimes it works. I mean, check out Pro Stars. You got basketball, you got
Oh,
football. I mean,
how have we not discussed this yet? Oh my God, we keep bringing up Pro Stars. All right, so you were just saying that this is one of the most mind-boggling things you've ever seen. What was the other one? Is it another animated
um,
movie?
there's it was brought into the U.S. around the same time, kind of like but it's more closely tied to Space Battleship Yamamoto or whatever you want to call it, Star Blazers. It was released in the U.S. as Captain Future,
Ooh.
and I was introduced to this show at the same time. This actually is a lot more cohesive,
Mm-hmm.
but the dubbing is fantastic, and the storyline is just you just left going, holy crap, this is the story. I can't believe this is gonna happen. I'm gonna force you to watch it at some point, and we're gonna share
No,
it
no,
with the viewers. But
that should be the next episode. We should do that. We should just do movies that are just completely bizarre as part of our What the Fuck editions. I want to discuss two movies. There is a Mark Twain animated movie that is claymation that is completely insane, and
all right.
Pinocchio and the Prince of Darkness, basically our beloved little wooden boy versus Satan.
Mm, mm. Well, I mean, definitely gonna put that on our list. We gotta alternate. You know, we only have so many out there cartoons to work with.
Yes. And that is it for us this episode. Thank you for joining for this mini-sode. And check us out on Facebook under Back in Tunes. And Tony, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem, man. You know, just worlds wide plays. We don't get to see all the really crazy stuff. So if you listeners out there have something where you're just like, you guys gotta watch this, and I gotta, report on it, just let us know.
Oh, totally. Yeah, we are pretty much game for anything. It's weird. My tolerance level is like, yeah, sure, that sounds completely insane. I want to watch that. All right, everybody. Good night.
Good night.